Welcome to an Uhus Jugger tutorial special. The corona pandemic has hit many of us hard with the trainings in the upcoming season. So for example with my team, our complete consolidation phase of Schädeljäger just vanished due to the missing complete training season in Jugger in Germany. To help you get going again with your training and with your team, I've selected some effective and focused training modules that people, for example from Rigor Mortis, from Uhus Trainingslager like Pitt and Patrick and many others consider to be quite effective to train certain special aspects in Jugger. We start with the team training modules, then we continue to duel training, including balance for example, or feeling for your opponent, and then we will proceed to pin training specialities and to reach training. And last but not least, a very important aspect that many miss, and that's referee training. Because the referees no one sees, please if you do videos about Jugger games, include some referee shots. These people are important.
And I have a special one for those power coaches who are still with us by the end of the video.
So, let's go, welcome to enjoy. If you like this video, then please like, subscribe, or welcome to comment in the comments if you have your own training modules that you would recommend, and I'm looking forward to hear from you. Your views are my fuel.
Team training exercises. Chaos Qwik, a classic. The Chaos Qwik is played 4 against 4 or 3 against 3 with 1 Qwik. The Qwik waits until both teams have approached. Then he or she plays for the team that hit them, and they try to score a point by placing the jug in the opponent's goal, as usual. If the other team hits them, they change sides until the now opposing team hits them again, and so forth. Downtime is 3 stones. And yes, the Qwik is quite a tough position here. Partner Zombie. This game reminds of the usual zombie or last man standing, with one crucial difference. Players are set up in pairs and play together. If one of a pair is hit, the player hit goes down, and only this one player. The other one can continue playing. But if the player who scored the hit or his partner is hit themselves, then the player may get up again. The same applies if both of one pair are down. The easy way would be that both players of a pair have to get down already when only one of them is hit.
Yep, weiter geht's.
In contrast to the usual zombie, which is deemed pretty ineffective by training terms, though a lot of fun, the partner zombie also emphasizes both team play and partner play and overview over the field. So here we have a combination of fun and effective training technique. The partner retreat, recommended for 5 or 7 enforcers. They divide in 2 teams, one with 2 and one with 3, or one with 4 and one with 3 players.
2, 1, los.
One player of the bigger or defending team is waiting behind the line,
1.
while the 2 other players or 3 other players are the attackers and try to score a hit before their opponents can reach the line. If they do, the player behind the line joins the fight. You may have noticed a certain difference in quality between certain clips. And that's due corona, since I couldn't do proper retakes with a proper camera. And instead of waiting for better times, I decided to go for 80% and not so perfect clips, but good information, instead for trying to reach 100% and wait forever with finishing this tutorial. So I hope that it's still fine for you. 3-3-4-4. You will need 2 Qwiks and 1 chain for this. Divide into 2 teams with a ball or skull in the center. Now both teams attack, while the non-chain team has to decide whether they go for the Qwik or for the chain, remove the threat by the chain or remove the threat by the Qwik. And now for duel training. Walk the plank. This is for 2 players with spars and a plank. This is for players who are already familiar with the fencing steps. Choose something for a plank that's easy enough to balance on. They challenge each other and try to score a hit without falling off. If you score a hit, that scores 1 point. If you fall off, that scores 2 points for the opponent. If you score a hit and the opponent falls off, that's still only 2 points. Doubles don't count. An excellent and funny training for balance. Uhus Duel Circle. This is for about 5 to 9 players standing in a circle around a center player. Each player has a number and attacks when the number is called.
Und die 1. 1.
In the advanced version, the defender closes their eyes and waits for the call of a number and then opens them and
die
defends.
Zu. Und die 2. Zu.
Rigor Mortis Power Ladder. A very effective duel training for 2 players and an assistant. 2 players face each other. One attacks, one defends. If the defender wins, the attacker goes back to their position. If the attacker wins, the defender goes back 1 line. The static power ladder just doesn't have a ladder, so you don't go back as a defender if you lose. The important bit of both power ladders is that time is counted during the attack, until the attack is finished by losing or winning. After 5 successful hits by the attacker, the total time is measured and recorded. Then switch attacker and defender positions. In the end, the player with the least time required to score 5 hits wins. This focuses on fast attacks. Kay's King of the Hill. You will need 5 or more enforcers and set most of them up at certain positions marked with cones. The rest of the players are waiting behind a starting cone. The first of them duels against the first position, the winner continues and duels the second position, the winner duels the third position, and so forth. At the king position, the winner stays and the loser gets back to the starting position and starts anew. This game encourages fast attacks with a lower intensity. Uhus Gears Duel. You will need 4 or more players, of which 1 or 2 are chains. 1 chain and 1 other enforcer are staying in fixed positions and are defending against the attackers. The attackers rush in 1 by 1, challenge the chain, then proceed to the enforcer or vice versa, and then run back to the queue to wait for another turn. The Triel. 3 players stand in a triangular position. Each player stands at the same wide measure position to their opponents, which means that they need a wide lunge to reach the on-guard position of both of their opponents. The goal is simple, just score hits against both of your opponents. Doubles don't count, any 1 hit is out. Do not deviate much from your on-guard position. This trains empathy and peripheral vision. Uhus Pressure Trap. This is for 2 players. 1 presses the spar in a downwards motion against the overhead parry of their opponent. Now both try to figure out the most effective counteraction in this situation. Train this over and over again. Note that Q-tips are especially hard opponents here. Slow Motion Duel. This is a focused one-on-one duel training module. Both players are dueling in slow motion, trying to figure out weaknesses and strengths of their partner and making use of it. This looks easy, but you can deliberately train attack and defense actions and even train your intuitivity. Training Pin and Reach. The Pin Reach. You have 1 kneeling and 1 pinning enforcer and optionally 1 assistant. Now the pinning enforcer tries to hit a point behind them, and the assistant marks the spot with a cone. This has to happen in 1 stone. With the next strike, the pinner tries to hit a spot even farther away and places the cone there. The defender may get up if it takes longer than a stone. The Pin Duel. You need 1 pinned, 1 pinner and 1 free enforcer. An assistant is optional. Now the pinner tries to rush to and duel against the enforcer, but return before the 5th stone sounds. Hits have no effect here, but fight as if it would be a real duel. Then enlarge the distance. Uhus Pin Escape. This is for 3 players. One is the pinner, one is pinned, and one is kneeling. The kneeling player has to get up within the next 3 stones. Their focus is not to counter-attack, but to flee as soon as they get up. Parry with your spar for this. Even if you are hit, try to earn distance. Pit's pin build-up. You have 3 enforcers and a Qwik in each team. The orange team is pinning 2 players in their half, while the blue team is pinning 1 close to their own mount. The orange Qwik heads for the score. Orange teammates roll up the pins, so one of them is free to support the Qwik. Pin, mount, protect. 1 player close to the mount, 1 pinned and 1 Qwik. The Qwik attacks and tries to score a point without getting hit, while the pinner tries to hit the Qwik without his pinned opponent getting up. A stone counter is measuring the time for the kneeling player. They may get up with the next stone after the pin is lifted. Now referee training. Spotting and declaring hits. 2 enforcers duel each other while the referee is watching. It is the referee's objective to call valid hits, invalid hits like head and hand, and doubles. This is purely meant for spotting correct and incorrect hits, which can be quite hard in an ongoing duel. Very essential for any referee. Pit's referee brawl. You have a number of referees and many more enforcers on a small pitch. Ideally, you have some assistants who tell the referees whom to send down. The enforcers are just dueling randomly against anyone else, and hits do not count, they are ineffective. Up until a referee comes running and sends you down. After you have gone down, you can get up again and join the brawl again. This is purely for referee training to make themselves heard on the pitch. And as you might know, unheard referee commands are quite a concern on tournaments, so do this training and your referees will be sharp and keen. Congrats, you made it to the Goodie! Police, jump and run. The tale goes that this is a test for people who apply for becoming policemen. You place 2 bigger bags about 10 meters apart. Then you place the skull or jug at the side where the player will start behind the bag. The player has now to grab the skull, jump over the bag, sprint to the other bag, jump over the other bag, put down the skull on the ground, pick it up again, run back to the first bag, jump over it, place the skull down on the ground, pick it up again, run to the other bag, and so forth, and you can vary the number of tours you want to make. Though this exercise primarily seems to train sprinting, it most of all trains willpower, because after a couple of rounds you start to feel exhausted, more and more with each round, and finally you want to stop at any cost. This willpower training is quite important for the Jugger match, because sometimes you have to chase the Qwik even when you're completely exhausted. Be careful though, do this only with experienced players, because other players may exhaust themselves too much in a match, and by putting further stress on your body, you will only enlarge the danger of injuries considerably. By the way, putting too much stress on already exhausted limbs and muscles is a great source for injury on any Jugger match, so be careful. Let me explain my gratitude to Pit, Patrick, Kai and all the others who were there at Uhus Trainingslager, either as participants or as coaches. We will repeat that event in any case, be sure of that. Now, if this video meets enough interest, counted by views of course, then I might consider doing a second part of training elements. You might also find the Jugger Stones app quite helpful, which you can install for free on your smartphone and which sounds different sounds of stones. Note that there are different versions out there, you just have to try out which one works best for you. And then there is a Jugger Trainer app with many training elements as well. And lastly, there is an upcoming training organization app, but that's under construction. There is much more sports theory behind the training modules shown here, but for the sake of shortness, I saved this. This was the your Jugger coach and fencing master, and I hope to see you soon on the pitch.